Allow me to tell you the story of two creatures, a knight referred to as the greatest warrior in the galaxy, and a simple butterfly, and how the vastly weaker one was slain by the butterfly. Okay, I make it sound all dramatic, but I really just wanted to get that joke out. Full disclosure, this will probably be my least constructive, least structured, and least analytical character discussion yet, because there really isn't a lot that is known about the anomaly that is Morpho Knight from the Kirby series. However, this all-powerful butterfly has had my mind on lockdown for the past few days, as one of the most threatening yet fascinating parts of the recent Kirby lore, and I need to collect my thoughts on this the only way I know how at this point. Since Kirby's return to Dreamland, Morpho Knight had already begun making innocuous appearances in cutscenes, in ways that literally nobody could possibly be suspicious of. It is literally just a butterfly with red and orange wings, flying around and seemingly doing its own thing. It appears in both the opening and ending cutscenes, likely to bookend the adventure and show that Kirby is back home, his latest adventure all done. In the following three mainline games, Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, and Star Allies, the same butterfly continues to appear in similar ways in the opening and ending cutscenes, not really serving any purpose. Side note, it is possible that these are all different butterflies, especially since Robobot's ending shows numerous butterflies of a similar design, but I like to think that it is always the same one, and just happens to be accompanied by similar ones in the Robobot ending. Only in hindsight do I start to think it was weird that this same butterfly was put into so many games' cutscenes. I hadn't thought about it once at the time, but as I delved into Star Allies post-game, this butterfly became something of much greater intrigue. But to get into that, it's time that I give a bit of discussion regarding the aforementioned greatest warrior in the galaxy, Galacta Knight. Not much is known about Galacta Knight either. He first appeared in the Meta Nightmare Ultra mode from Superstar Ultra, where Meta Knight simply wished to fight the greatest warrior in the galaxy, and was described as having been sealed away by the Ancients for being much too powerful. While it is unclear if he is an evil being, he is definitely volatile, violent, and dangerous, never turning down the chance for a fight. He next appeared in Return to Dreamland, a welcome cameo where he showed up in the true arena for no real reason. And then he showed up again in Planet Robobot, in the Meta Nightmare Returns mode, where he's summoned by the Stardream OS to fight Meta Knight once more. As cool as Galacta Knight was, he was verging on overstaying his welcome, with so many appearances in the past few games and not much to spice it up. For me, this only got worse when he was teased in the credits of the Star Allies main story to once again be set to appear as a secret boss. In the sub-game Guest Star Star Allies Go, what a title that is, Galacta Knight's next appearance indeed comes to fruition, with Highness summoning him because... reasons? I don't know, Highness was connected to the Ancients, so it was probably something to do with that. Remember when I said this would be my least structured analysis yet? Anyways, there he was again, ready for another boss fight just one mainline game after his last appearance. I was quite underwhelmed as his boss card showed up on screen once more and I got ready to fight him. But then, the battle didn't start. Before it could initiate, the all-too innocuous butterfly flew down from the sky and landed on Galacta Knight's lance. Against all of his violent tendencies, even he didn't lash out at it, seeming more confused and curious than anything. And then, he disintegrated. The greatest warrior in the galaxy was, without any effort whatsoever, turned to ash by a butterfly. It proceeded to waste no time in absorbing all of Galacta Knight's power, and becoming Morpho Knight. While the memory isn't all too clear in my mind, I can say with utmost certainty that I was freaking out at the sight of this. A character who had been hyped up for nearly an entire decade at this point for his unmatched strength and mystery in the greater Kirby lore, was seemingly outright killed by what could hardly have been considered a character before this moment. The mere existence of Morpho Knight sparked so many questions and much renewed interest in the series' overarching lore. What the heck was this butterfly? Why did it kill Galacta Knight? While there were some answers to these questions in the supplementary flavor texts, I'll go over them later. Whatever the case though, I definitely was aware that it ultimately wasn't canon. Much like Galacta Knight before it, and the many soul bosses present exclusively in the true arenas, Morpho Knight was relegated to simply existing in a side mode, and was sadly not canon to the main story. Or at least, it wasn't canon. Come Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the entire reason I made this video. Very quick review of the game. I haven't had this much pure concentrated joy playing a game probably in years. It almost made me feel like a kid again, and it is in all likelihood one of my new favorite Kirby games of all time, maybe even games in general. One of my favorite aspects about it was that for the first time in maybe the entire series, the post-game was entirely canon to the story. It was an entire extra world set after the main events of the plot, where Kirby and Elfilin, who I was ecstatic to learn was a very good boy after all, by the way, travel to the Forgo Dreams, a world of illusion created by the final boss's incomplete form, Fecto Forgo, in order to regain its strength after being defeated by Kirby. To that end, they trapped Leon, the leader of the Beast Pack and their most prominent pawn, inside and used him as a vessel to fight Kirby when he inevitably showed up. When that doesn't work though, they remove themselves from Leon and prepare to fight Kirby in the form of Soul Forgo. And then the butterfly flutters into the room! Forgo doesn't do anything to stop the butterfly either, and they are much more explicitly evil than Galacta Knight. It goes to show that no one, neither the players nor the characters in-universe, suspect anything of this butterfly unless they already know. Forgo pays for his mistake the same as Galacta Knight, and is dissolved and assimilated for the butterfly to once again form Morpho Knight. However, Forgo did end up surviving this and reforming after Kirby defeated Morpho Knight, but I personally think that speaks more of Forgo's own powers than a lack of power of Morpho Knight. The series is more than welcome to have more than one character with unholy amounts of power after all. Forgo's complete form wasn't called the Ultimate Life Form for nothing. Aside from making me yell no repeatedly at the sight of a butterfly in the cutscene preceding the boss, this appearance is significant in that it marks the first canonical appearance of Morpho Knight, and makes Kirby aware of him as a threat that does indeed exist, one that we almost certainly have not seen the last of. Now all of this is well and good, but it still leaves the question of, what in the world is Morpho Knight? Well, we're not entirely sure. There is some info. The Japanese pause menu description for it in Star Allies describes it as a butterfly of paradise that appears when something has ceased to be, quote-unquote. In a way, this almost makes sense, with Galacta Knight being a warrior from the ancient past, and Soul Forgo having been spawned from a being that should have died. Perhaps the butterfly appeared in attempts to finally force their souls to pass on. Maybe it's even attracted to Kirby, the reincarnation of the god of destruction Void Termina, who should also be dead but was reborn. So, case closed, right? Not exactly. Its figure description in Forgotten Land describes that it was simply drawn to Forgo as being the most powerful soul in the vicinity. So, does it want power? But then, several of its flavor texts describe its relation to Judgment Day. Does it serve some higher being? And on a more meta level, was this butterfly planned to be of a greater significance from the moment it first appeared in Return to Dreamland? Or was it only later on that the developers and storyboarders decided to go all out and make it what it is now? The only thing that is clear about this creature is that it seems to be from another dimension, and that it is insanely powerful and dangerous. This confusion is honestly part of what I love about Morpho Knight. It represents one of the things I love most about this wild series. While it may seem cute and innocent at first glance, it hides a dark, mysterious, confusing side upon closer inspection. This description fits both the Kirby series at large and Morpho Knight. I went from hardly noticing this butterfly to pointing and screaming like a madman when I saw it in a blink-and-you-miss-it moment in Forgotten Land's opening cutscene, scouring the internet to see what lore has been dug up about it, and now writing a video essay on it. Its introduction to the series adds so many questions, not the least of which being if its continuous appearances will eventually culminate in a finale to this storyline, and even recontextualizes seemingly cute moments like the reoccurrence of butterflies landing on Kirby's head, because remember what happened to other creatures that let the butterfly land on their head? Kirby is either very powerful, very lucky, or both to even still be alive from that. Even further, its reappearance in Forgotten Land shows that non-canon characters can still be canon, while still adding some mystery. Is it the same Morpho Knight, and it just managed to travel between parallel dimensions from the guest star world to the main timeline? Or has Morpho Knight been wholly reintroduced, just now in a canon context? All of this mystique has done nothing but make me more and more enthralled with the Kirby series I already loved so much. Matters certainly are helped by amazing boss fights, especially the fight in Forgotten Land, with high-level Kirby boss staples like teleportation spam, large hitboxes that are difficult to avoid, and even his own unique moves involving mental manipulation of its opponents. all wrapped up in a butterfly aesthetic and use of fire, the coolest element, no exceptions, Morpho Knight quickly made a mark as one of the most memorable bosses in the entire Kirby series, not just for its story implications, but also just for being really fun to beat up and get beaten up by. And getting some of his abilities as a reward for beating him in Forgotten Land was the icing on the cake. I'm certainly looking forward to clashing swords with this Fluttery Fiend once more and seeing what it will ultimately amount to in the future of the series. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Forgotten Land, am I right? Oh my god, that game was great. I just really needed to get this video out as a result of seeing Morpho Knight appear again. Like, I don't know what to say in this more unscripted ending section that I haven't already said. Like I've said numerous times by now, that was not a very structured or critical review of the character. It was more or less just me ranting about all of the wild thoughts I've had about Morpho Knight. But yeah, if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll get more content like this out in the future. And if you're a Kirby fan who knows more about Morpho Knight lore than I do, please be free to tell me about some of it in the description. I mean comments. I am living and breathing off of Morpho Knight lore and Kirby lore in general right now. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you later.